And hello and welcome everybody. This is Ed Garrett with TMStash, and with me are the creators of NUTMEG, which will be coming to your comic shops on March 25th. James Wright and Jackie Crofts. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Doing
good.
All right. I first heard of your book back in 2013. Jeremy Whitley, who is from this area where I am in Carolina, and had done doing some My Little Pony books as well. He wrote an email to me and several other folks. He had looked at the advanced copy of what you were doing and went nuts over it, and sent it to us. And so we took a look at the Kickstarter site, posted it that day, which was September 30th of 2013. I actually went back and looked at our old site. And you guys were funded in like 24 hours?
We were. We had I think our goal was pretty modest. Maybe a little too modest, but we were really happy to. Jackie and I were going back and forth, like seeing how the numbers were going up and up, and we were kind of flipping out, trying to figure out
it was
what
my
we would
first
do.
experience with Kickstarter, like doing a Kickstarter, so I didn't know what to expect or how much to ask for. Or it was really all just like a huge experiment.
It really was. Like we knew what we wanted to do, how many copies we wanted to print, which actually increased when we kind of surpassed our goal. But coming into it, we said, okay, here's how many copies we want to print, and here's where we want to get them printed, and here's how much it'll cost. So we worked out some of those details, but there were still a few surprises on that end. We managed to get everything we needed to do, I think, but it was a very interesting learning experience, I think, for both of us.
Well, a very successful experience. The next thing I knew, of course, I've got my poster from the Kickstarter here, and I love having that up on the wall. I next heard again from you, actually Jeremy Whitley again, in January, caught us up there, wrote to the universe, and it said, and this when he was talking about doing things with Action Lab, he said, while I don't feel the need or obligation to personally stump for every book we pick up, NUTMEG is starting up in March, and this book is special. I have to agree, it really is. This one I think I've described as a coming-of-age culinary crime comic about a pair of teenage girls who rise to power thanks to their criminally delicious brownies, or as Ben and Veronica meet Breaking Bad. I like those descriptions. Tell us a little bit about NUTMEG.
Sure. I had the idea for NUTMEG, which has changed quite a bit from the initial idea stages. Way back in like fall 2011, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I didn't have an artist in mind. I just sort of knew it was about girls and baking and crime. And I met Jackie through our mutual friend Josh Eckert. Josh and I did the Geek Zodiac together, but I met Jackie through Josh because I went to Indianapolis for a few days to meet up with Josh and talk in person and stuff, and I met Jackie there. And I had pitched her NUTMEG. I saw some of her stuff, and Josh said she'd be a great fit for the book, and so I pitched her on NUTMEG basically there, and we kind of went through the character designs and that kind of stuff over the next few weeks, and the stuff Jackie was sending was incredible, and I knew I found the right person for the book. So we, from that point forward, we just kind of figured out a working relationship, how we had to drop bots, and we kind of go back and forth with it. But it was one of my things was trying to do something different, I guess, with like the crime story, trying to soften it a bit. Nothing like no murder and that kind of stuff. Nothing super hard. But I wanted to. You don't see a lot of crime stories that feature girls. A lot of you'll see like boys tend to be the focus in crime stories, and men and that kind of stuff. And so I was like, what if we took that kind of concept and applied it to girls? And that was where a lot of it started. And also I like to bake, so that was a thing as well. I like to make cookies, and so that for me that's kind of where that came in. But Jackie, if you want to kind of chime in and kind of what you brought. to the book.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really loved the idea when James pitched it to me, and I was like, yes, I'm crazy. I will do this for absolutely nothing, with no expectations of it, like, going anywhere or of anything happening with it. I was just like, yeah, I want to make some comics. I want to actually do this. And I never expected it to even... I mean, I expected to do it, like, all the way until the end, but I never expected it to grow this much in the time that it did.
Now, this is the first time you've been doing interior art for a comic. I know you've done a cover on Princeless Girls Who Rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or
this
two-
is my first comic. I mean, I did, like, some little things during college, but they were never, like, put out to the public. They were never online. They were never, like, published or anything like that.
Now, you've done some artwork, though, on some video games. I think there was... I took a look. We were talking just before we got on there. I'd actually downloaded the demo for Stranger Dreams, which is a very different art style than NUTMEG.
It is. That's kind of like the dichotomy. Like, my art style is either very much like NUTMEG, or it's very, like, painterly and kind of dark and strange.
That's a good way to put it. It's good, but it's very dark and messed up. I'll tell you what, it was pretty cool to look at. I could tell, though, the similarities in style with your cover for Tales of Girls Who Rock. Although it was a little bit bolder colors, there's much more of a pastel kind of palette that you're using for NUTMEG. Was that something y'all had talked about in terms of planning for the book, or to sort of balance out things from the story itself, or?
It just kind of happened, really. I mean, even doing, like, the line work, like, brown instead of black, it was just sort of like a thing that I wanted to experiment with and try out. And then once I did it in the first issue, I was like, well, I can't really go back now, so I'm doing this.
Well, I think it's really cool to see, because we didn't, again, it wasn't something that we kind of planned out, but I think it fit with the kind of tone we're going for with the book, which was sort of juxtaposing a crime element with, like, your sort of Americana, small town teenage girl kind of thing. But one thing I really like too is I like again, Jackie uses like a brown outline the characters as well as the borders, the panel borders themselves, and it looks like NUTMEG. Actually, it looks like the spice kind of as forming the panel borders, which I don't. Again, like Jackie said, I'm not sure how intentional that was for that effect, but it works, and people seem to like that look as well.
Sounds good. The story itself, now, if I remember right from reading some of the back pages on the comic, the original concept of NUTMEG really wasn't anything like this. There was something about a detective eating expired foods.
Yes.
So how did you get from there to this?
It was a weird kind of path. I knew that I wanted to use the name NUTMEG, I guess, is where it started, and it's a fun word, and it's a spice and everything for it. But there was a detective who his deal was he was out of work detective. He ate expired foods from his pantry and, like, opened up his pathways in his mind, was able to solve crimes that way. And somewhere along the way, like, I kept the detective things kind of stuck with me, and everything else sort of fell away. And I was thinking about Girl Scout cookies, and I was like, well, what if the Girl Scouts were like a criminal organization? Was kind of where that came about, and then I was thinking of teen detectives like Nancy Drew and Encyclopedia Brown, those kind of things. And what if there was a story told from the other side, like instead of Nancy Drew or Encyclopedia Brown, it's your Moriarty to Sherlock. So what's the story from that perspective? And that's sort of where it came into play, and everything sort of fell in after that. So, I mean, Betty and Veronica, Peppermint Patty and Marcy was one that I sort of used as a template as well. And these two friends who end up becoming these queen pins, I guess, technically. And so the path isn't like a direct through line from guy eating expired food to teenage girl criminals, but there were some pieces and parts that kind of filtered through, I guess, in the final final product.
Yeah, I love your main characters here because you got Poppy, Pepper, and Cassia, who I kept wondering, okay, where is that first name connecting to it? And then I finally started going back and looking at the French to English dictionary because I don't speak French. And her name means cinnamon.
Cannelle, yes, Cannelle.
Cannelle means cinnamon.
Yes. Her birth name is Cannelle. She goes by Cassia. Poppy's birth name is Pamela, and she goes by Poppy. So there's 6 main girls in the story. 4 of whom you meet in the first issue. You meet a 5th in the second, and then the final one actually has lines in the third issue. But they're all in the first issue. There's Poppy and Cassia, the 2 main girls. Saffron is the rival. Her lieutenant is Marjorie, off of Marjoram. Ginger is the teen detective, and then Anise edits the school paper. So there's 6, and they're all named after spices. That was all intentional. So we did. I like puns and stuff, and so all these the Spice Girl names that kind of came into play.
What I liked in reading the story, though, I mean, certainly the names are puns there, but it's not a book of puns, and you're really effectively getting the characters, the premise, the storyline there without huge amounts of exposition. There's even some places where the art itself sort of takes the lead. I liked a couple of the pages there. There was one where, at first I'm just seeing the conversation going between the 2 girls, and then realizing, look later, wait, that's a different class in each panel. This is carrying us through the day. And then there's a couple of pages where it's just the artwork showing where they're coming from, dealing with their bike tires to what looks to me like the market coming into view. But it does it in a way that doesn't just overload you with exposition, talk down to you.
No, and that was one of the things that Jackie and I had kind of talked about, because what I like about comics is that, and scripting comics is that it's very much like a open-ended conversation. It's not here's the law and you follow the law as the artist. It's here's what I'm thinking, and Jackie kind of brings some stuff to it. And I didn't want to, in the script, I wanted to showcase Jackie's art. I wanted to take some pages where I didn't have word balloons covering everything. And I was like, well, if there's a way we can convey some information without using words, and there's that sequence where Cassius sees Saffron across the street, and they have this stare down, and you kind of get some information there. I think you do, but Jackie absolutely nailed it on those pages, and even the one where they're in the classrooms. I wanted to have a way to show the passage of time, and so I was like, Jackie, what if we did, different classes, the same conversation is happening, but it's sort of a weird time lapse thing, and she did. She did a great job. I love
it. You've got how many issues planned right now for it? 1.5 million.
The plan now is for 18. That's a lot.
Yeah.
For 2 people.
I didn't think that it sounded like a lot in the beginning, and then once I started looking at the time period, I was like,
yes, it's a lot. That said, we do have. I mean, it can be shortened. It's not. It doesn't need to go 18. There are again just in terms of workload, more for Jackie than for me, because she really is Jackie's the star of the book. I'm just here for support. Yeah, no, and I it's not false modesty. Everything that you see in NUTMEG on the page is Jackie. She does the art, she does the colors, she does the word balloons in, it's all Jackie. And it wouldn't exist without her in any way possible. So we have I'm working with Jackie's schedule basically. The large plan is 18, but it doesn't need to be 18. is kind of where we stand.
Well, now you're hooked up with Action Lab. We started hearing about Action Lab about the time our site started, and it was just before some of their Danger Zone books, their mature imprint, started out. In this area, I wound up meeting the guy who at the time was colorist on M Theory, and then later met Jeremy and some of the other guys there. And while I do like their Danger Zone imprint, I love the all ages books that Action Lab does, and it's really some of the best on the market. So you're in an excellent lineup. Hopefully you'll get a lot of notice here. And for right now, I think the biggest thing is for folks to get in touch with the comic shop, because there are a lot of places that carry Action Lab. Not everybody does, so they would need to get in there. I think you're in the January previews issue.
Yep.
Yes. January previews. I think we're on.
261, I think.
I think 261.
And number 2 is already in February's previews.
In the 250s. I don't remember the page number on that one, but and then our friend Josh did a variant cover as well for the first issue.
Okay, and then you're also going to be on Comixology.
Yes, I think we're actually up already on Comixology.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was just looking. I was, vanity Googling, and and I was like, I wonder if we're on Comixology, and I did a search for NUTMEG Comixology, and it turns out that we are. And one of my friends lives in the UK, and he read it on Comixology. I was like, oh, that's great. So it actually is out there on Comixology, and then it'll be in stores soon. What, next month? Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's next month.
So, and because we have Jackie and I are going to Emerald City Comic-Con in end of March. So it's at Seattle. So we'll be there 2 days or the day after it comes out in stores. The first issue comes out. So that's like our first public post-release sort of event, I think.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good lineup of appearances coming up between the two of you. I think, I know, Jackie, I was trying to read the stores. Are you going to like Mark Wade's store at some point, or?
I am. I'm going to be going up to his store in Muncie because he lives up there, and they're going to be switching over to, they were Alter Ego, and they're going to be switching to Aw Yeah Comics, and they're moving into a new building, so I'm going to be signing there. And then at Comic Book University in Greenwood, at Comic Carnival on the north side. I don't remember all the other ones. I'll be at Free Comic Book Day too.
Yeah, and then one or both of you are going to be in Charlotte at next Heroes Con?
That's my current plan. I don't know yet. It's very tentative. I think that there are still spots available. It'll depend on if I can get time off from my day job to go, which is always the hassle. But
I hope you can make it. You'll enjoy it. It's a good con.
I've heard really good things about it. I've got my aunt lives in Charlotte, so I might have like a couch to crash on if I were to make it out there. We learned, I think, even from Portland, the first show that we both did, first show we did and the first show we did together, and we both have friends and family in Portland that we stayed with. But even then, like, you don't realize how expensive it is to like go to shows. Flight and lodging and food and all that stuff. And plus, you got to get your books, and if you're gonna ship them out or get them from the publisher or whatever, however you're gonna get them there. So it adds up.
It's an enterprise to do. It really is.
Yeah.
It is.
You don't realize how much work it's actually going to be until you're gearing up to get ready to go to a show, and you're like, I have to do this like 2 or 3 months in advance just to get ready to go to like a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, I've got an easier way of handling that, because all I've got to do is basically carry a tablet and a good cell phone camera with me, and I'm set.
That must be nice. It must be nice.
I make it harder on myself because I get really crazy and I want to like decorate the booth and color coordinate everything, so I have like all these different decorations that go on the booth, and I'm like in the middle of sewing a like teal and like light yellow tablecloths for us right now.
Well, the good thing is you do have some appearances going and a book coming out. I think after the first 3 issues, there's a trade that comes out.
Yes, that's our current. We just sort of worked out all the final details within the last week. But our release kind of schedule is it'll be 3 issues, then a trade collecting those previous 3 issues, and then so it's monthly for 3 issues. The trade comes out the 4th month, and then the 5th month we sort of have off. There's no NUTMEG release in that 5th month, and then the 6th month we pick up again issue 4, 5, 6 trade, month off. So it gives us, again, having that extra 2-month window with the trade and the month off gives us a lot more time to kind of get ahead, and we're trying to get as many done before that launch date as we can.
I'm trying.
Yes, Jackie's trying. Jackie's trying.
Well, without really spoiling anything, but to say I have had a chance to read through, obviously having gotten the Kickstarter and reread it again even recently. This is a great comic, highly recommended. And so, guys, if you get a chance, be sure to grab it. Go to Comixology, check with your local comic shop. Again, coming out in print on March 25th, available on Comixology as well. So be looking for NUTMEG. And thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.